Donald Trump has to be infuriated. The U.S. gold medal winning women's hockey team just declined his invitation to his State of the Union address tomorrow night. Go women.
Hey boys, I know you think it's Bob Krasenstein, but surprise! It's me, his emotional support brother, Ned. Bob is busy right now painting his fingernails, so he asked me to deliver some exciting news. The women's hockey team has rejected an invitation from the Orange Man to listen to the State of the Union address tonight. Go women! Go women! Ooga! Ooga! As you can see, the Krasensteins are now co-captains of the cheerleading squad for the women's hockey team. My inside sources, they are telling me that Bob and Ted actually tried out for Team USA. They tried out for the women's hockey team, but they were rejected for not being tough enough. With both the men's and the women's hockey team winning a gold medal at the Olympics, the Trumper, he extended both teams an invitation to the State of the Union address later tonight. Now, me personally, I think this was Don displaying an act of equality. He'd already invited the men's team after their patriotic victory over the forgotten wasteland known as Canada, so maybe he felt obligated to extend that same invitation to the ladies. And look. They deserve it. The ladies represented America well, at least to my knowledge. They won a gold medal. They had earned the privilege of being invited by the president to the White House. And that's what this is. I don't care who the president is, whether it's Barry Obama, Georgie Bush, and his imaginary friend Strategery, our former fearless leader Johnny B. Biden, or Don Trump. When the president personally invites you to the White House, it's a privilege. It's an honor. Unless, of course, it's Billy Jefferson Clinton. I can understand why the ladies would be hesitant, maybe even skeptical, of receiving an invitation from Billy Clinton. When Don Trump personally invited the dudes from Team USA to the White House, they accepted his invitation without hesitation. They took this invitation for what it was, which is an honor and a privilege. Or who knows, maybe they looked at it as a chance to get some much needed rest as they're sedated into unconsciousness while Don Trump speaks for hours about the State of the Union. Either way, the young men on Team USA, they gladly accepted the invitation from the Trumper, but the women? On their long flight home from Milan, I guess the ladies on Team USA were busy polishing the turd. They were trying to come up with a logical reason as to why they couldn't make the trip to Washington, D.C. One thing women are brilliant at doing, they're great at rejecting men without hurting the dude's feelings. Beautiful women have been practicing the fine art of rejection their entire lives. They have had plenty of practice. Some dude with a massive wart on his nose approaches her at a bar asking to buy her a drink. No thanks, I don't drink. Some dude at church asks to hold hands as they say a prayer. I can't hold hands, I'm contagious. Women are brilliant at rejecting men and making it seem like it's their own fault, which is exactly what happened yesterday when the women from Team USA rejected the Trumper. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Later today on the second channel, going to be talking about the return of Floyd Mayweather to boxing. Recently, it was announced that Mayweather and Pacquiao, they will be fighting in September again. Initially, I was confused as to why. Their first fight was the drizzling shits. It was boring, and I damn sure wouldn't be willing to pay to watch the rematch. Not to mention the fact that Floyd Mayweather is almost 50 years old, and he's been retired for 8 years now? But there are rumors that Floyd Mayweather is returning to boxing because he's broke. I'll give you all the details, so if you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. Yesterday afternoon, the women from Team USA released a statement rejecting Donald Trump's invitation to Washington. Dear Don, we regret to inform you that we're too busy right now to visit the White House. Some of the ladies have midterms at Woke U this week. Others have professional commitments. It's just not a good time. Academic commitments, professional commitments. Let me get this straight. You expect me to believe that the women from Team USA would rather be at school and work than taking a free vacation to Washington, D.C.? You really expect me to believe that? When I was in school, I looked for any reason not to be there. It's raining outside. I don't have an umbrella. Can't go to school. Princess Diana tragically died in a car accident. Can't go to school. I'm mourning. When I had a job working for someone else, I damn sure looked for any reason not to be at work. If one of my Yorkies had a routine visit at the vet, took the entire day off. If Aquarius lined up with the Big Dipper, I considered it a holiday. Flag Day, Arbor Day, Teacher Appreciation Day. I used to look for any reason not to sit behind that desk for 8 or 9 hours. If I was invited by the president to the White House, I'd take off work the entire month. And you mean to tell me these young women from Team USA, they are too busy to accept the Trumpers' invitation? I ain't buying it. Now, in their defense, maybe the young women on Team USA don't want to be involved. Maybe they don't want to publicly choose sides. And they think that accepting Don's invitation to the White House would be perceived as choosing sides. If that is the case, it's another example of why the disease of politics needs to be eradicated from American culture. There are certain things you just don't say no to. For example, if you're a lonely man who has never been touched by a woman, and by some miracle a woman is showing interest in you, I don't care if she has a volcanic boil in the middle of her forehead. You don't say no to her offer. If you're a minimum wage earner in the WNBA dump and the league is generously offering you 6-figure salaries, you don't reject their offer. You damn sure don't demand more. You accept their generous offer without hesitation. Used to be the same thing with invitations to the White House. In the past, it did not matter who the president was. If you were on a championship team, if you're a high-profile Olympic athlete and you get invited to the White House, the answer was always yes. But over the last decade, we have allowed the disease of politics to spread into every facet of society. And now the disease is out of control. Believe it or not, politics used to be a nuisance that we dealt with every 4 years. It wasn't something that was incessantly discussed on a daily basis. When we watched football on Sundays, we didn't ask ourselves, I wonder who Drew Brees is voting for in November. Who gives a damn who Drew Brees is voting for. I don't want to see Drew Brees wearing a MAGA hat. I damn sure don't want to see him wearing a dunce hat to show support for doofus Democrats. You know what I want to see on his head? A helmet with the Saints logo on each side. You know what my expectations were for Drew Brees? Throw accurate passes, elevate the offense, win football games. That was the extent of our relationship. Today, you go get coffee at Starbucks and the damn barista has a tattoo of a donkey on his face to show his support for Democrats. I don't need to know your personal beliefs. The only thing I need from you is a cup of coffee. We used to live in a society where talking about politics was taboo. It was considered rude. Today, you can't get away from this disease, and look at the end result. The country has never been more divided. Accepting an invitation to the White House is viewed as an endorsement of the Trumper or John Biden. The Olympics have been politicized. These young women are missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime experience. More than likely, this will never happen again. These young women will likely never be invited back to the White House. Think about it. Name one player on Team USA on the women's team. Name one. The vast majority, if not all of these women, are unknown. This time next week, they'll be back to working at Burger Queen and they'll be forgotten. They had the opportunity to enjoy a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and they turned it down because we're too busy. I think they turned it down because they're scared. They're scared of being ridiculed. They don't want to deal with creeps like Keith Olbermann. Keithy Poo! Or maybe they turned it down because they're woke white women. We don't know because they didn't specify. If they are a group of woke white women and you're a single dude, I highly suggest that you not approach them with your romantic advances. If you're a single man, I can't stress this enough. Find a woman who is willing to let you lead. Now, of course, you need to have your shit together. You need to be a man and not a boy. But if you find a woke white woman, if you find a woman who calls herself a boss or an alpha female, or even worse, a proud yenta, and especially if the woman admits to being a former man, if you're a single man and you find yourself in this situation, run. Anyway, you tell me, why did the women from Team USA reject the Trumpers' invitation? Do they not want to be publicly involved with politics? Did they reject Don because they think Orange Man bad? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.